We're joined now by royal commentator Jennie Bond. And what a day it has been, Jennie.
Fold in the way it does year after year, I think is kind of calming and settling in the turmoil we live in the middle of a general election campaign. To have these rituals that we've seen year after year continue, I think it's kind of comforting. But obviously the highlight of the day was seeing the Princess of Wales back, not fully back and not fully recovered, as we know, but making a very wonderful appearance and a very appropriate one, I think. I think trooping was exactly right. It combines, if you like, the majesty of monarchy, all this great ceremonial that, as you say, we do so well, with what is essentially a family occasion, a chance for the family to get together behind the scenes. And I guess they haven't seen that much of one another during this period of cancer treatment for both the King and the Princess.
And how do you think she looked, Jennie? She looked well, didn't she? And it was so wonderful as well to see all the children with her in the glass coach too.
She looked very well. She looked very regal. She looked a lot better than in the video broadcast she made telling us all about her cancer diagnosis. And yes, I think you're right to point the fact that she was there as a mum as well. I mean, she was there to support the King. That's what it's all about, really, on what is essentially his day. But she was also there to guide her children and be there at what is a very lengthy affair, this ceremony. And there's a lot of protocol involved. And she's there just to put her hand on their shoulder, comfort them. In fact, two of the kids were sitting on her knee, weren't they, as they were watching from horse guards overlooking the parade ground. So it was great to see the family back together, and what a comfort it must have been for William as well to have his wife there where she belongs, at his side.
And great, Jennie, too, to see them on the balcony. Fabulous moment. And we will be scrutinising for minute detail quite what Louis was up to. Was he clapping? Was he cheering? What was he doing? Because we love little Louis.
Yes, little Louis looked a little bit bored, perhaps, I don't know, during the marching. I mean, he was jigging around at one point, clearly enjoying the beat of the drums, which I defy anyone not to do. I mean, it's so wonderful if you're there. You can feel the beat of the drums and the pounding of the horses' hooves. You can feel it vibrating through the ground. And I always used to love that. And I think he was enjoying it. But then he had a little yawn and then he sat on Mum's knee. But I think he was pretty well behaved. But Catherine was there to make sure. And of course, this is the King's Day. It is his official birthday. And we've often in the past made something of how the family try not to outdo one another. But on this occasion, of all occasions, I think the King was immensely proud and, in his own words, delighted to have Catherine back on parade and at his side.
She is, whatever we think, she's a future queen, Jennie, and she's hugely, hugely popular. Any poll will show again and again she's way up at the top. And that was even before the terrible cancer diagnosis.
Yes, she's very popular, and I think she is making herself very relatable. She already was, but I think she, in her statement, which she issued yesterday, was incredibly frank about her chemotherapy treatment and what it has done and is doing to her. And the phrase that stood out for me in that statement was that she is learning to be patient, particularly with uncertainty. And I think uncertainty is pretty hard for anyone to deal with. And when you are a youngish mum and you've got your kids to look after, you've got a future unlike anyone else's in this country, a destiny, extraordinary destiny, to be uncertain about how you're going to feel from day to day is very hard for her, I think, not only physically, but probably mentally. But it was a very personal statement which aligned herself with other cancer sufferers. It was very inclusive, wasn't it, saying that as other people undergoing chemotherapy will understand, and talking also about how blown away she's been, not a very regal term, but one we again can relate to, blown away by the messages of kindness and encouragement.
The whole family have felt blown away by the support that they've seen from the great British public in the last 6 months or so. I mean, they'll be moved by the scenes on the Mall, won't they, Jennie? Those thousands of people who stayed, come wind, rain or shine, some of them since 3:30 p.m. yesterday.
Yeah, you do have to feel for them, honestly. It poured with rain at the coronation, didn't it? And I thought today, actually, might be slightly better. Thankfully, yeah, the rain stayed away for most of the parade. But yes, I think they will be very gratified to see the huge crowds and to hear the cheers, especially when the princess, her carriage, came into view. I mean, great cheers from the crowd. I think what we saw today really was the monarchy back on parade, back not to full strength by any means, but after a shockingly alarming first few months of this year, I think today showed that they're not down and not out. They're still there and gaining in strength, and we'll be seeing more and more of them, hopefully, as the months go by.
Test for him too, the king, Jenny, because he's been going through his own cancer diagnosis. We know he had to leave the D-Day commemorations a little earlier than he would have wanted to. So this was a big test for him as well physically, and he seems to have done it just fine.
Yeah, well, as Camilla has let us know, he's being very naughty. He's not doing what he's told. He's doing too much, really. But he does look quite well. We don't actually know if he is undergoing chemotherapy. We don't know what kind of cancer treatment he is undergoing. But the assumption must be that it is some kind of chemo. And so he's undoubtedly having good days and bad days, just like Catherine. But he has made it a determined stance to be visible as much as possible throughout this cancer problem. And even if it was just a photograph being issued in the early times of his diagnosis, he wanted to be seen. And that's been his way of dealing with things. Catherine has taken a more private approach. And I personally am delighted that we have known so little about her condition, because that's the way she wanted it. And that is her right. And today she has shown us that she is indeed making progress, good progress in her own words, but it's going to take a few more months.
Just so wonderful to see the Princess of Wales today. Jennie Bond, thank you so much for sharing your reflections.